Farida,
Yes.
you see Orcus looks at you and just says, got him good. Tell me, do you like music? And he holds up a strange box with a handle. Normally I just hold it up like this.
I love this so much.
Only plays one song. If you know, you know, chat. If you know, you know. He's like, okay, fine, new plan then, and puts the box down. My favorite part about that clip is watching Jeremy Crawford slowly die inside, while everybody else he's like, what have you all done to my beloved game?
And with that, what's up and welcome to Champions of Lore, a show about all the kick-ass stories behind some of Idle Champions' coolest campaigns and characters. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/CNE Games, or later on your favorite podcast service, be Dave Walters and Erin M talk about all the Idle Champions lore it's fun to know about. If you're with us live in the chat, you can leave a question that I, Trevor Bettis, will ask them later in the show. But until then, Erin, be Dave, take it away.
Hi, I'm Erin M. Evans. I am the author of the Brimstone Angels Saga, a 6-book series set in the Forgotten Realms featuring 3 of your favorite Idle Champions Farida, Havilar, and Mahen. I'm also a content designer for Idle Champions, and I play Cecilia on Dungeon Scrawlers, and I played Farida on Idle Champions Idle Champions Presents Court of the Raven Queen.
Yeah.
Also, there's somebody inside the room. It's coming from inside the house, Erin. It's coming from inside the house.
This is actually a shared office, but we try to give each other space for conferences. But I'm like, I'm doing my show this morning, and he's like, yeah, I'll leave before that. And so I've been reminding him periodically, this is gonna get loud. So I don't know if he believed me until just now. That was my husband, Kevin. Bye, Kevin.
I appreciate we've bullied that man for 18 months. And the one time he tried to stand his ground. No.
Oh, jeez.
I'm B. Dave Walters. I say words about things. I was the Dungeon Master for Idle Champions Presents Court of the Raven Queen, which means I was basically everybody, up to and including half the catalog of characters Erin has created. And I gotta tell you,
pretty sweet.
I gotta tell you, today is my very favorite day. I'm not gonna jump the line to tell you what we're doing today, but I just want you to know I'm very pleased, very, very grateful to be a part of Idle Champions, to get to tell these stories, to get to do Idle Champions Presents. But I do this gig in no small part expressly because of what we're about to get to do today. It's a writer in my contract, you know.
So Idle Champions Presents Court of the Raven Queen wrapped up on Monday. If you missed it, it is now available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. If you don't want to go look for it, there's a tweet going out today that's got a link. But yeah, there a lot happened during that, and as ye tradition is now, we do a little recap after an ICP. Yes, I'm calling it ICP. I know that messes with all of you, but I hear it every day like that.
Here's what's weird. Not only did I finally get used to calling this ICP, there was a joke where somebody really was referring to the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh
and
my
that
God.
just the neurons. I was like, who?
Wait, what do you mean Idle Champions Presents performing live somewhere?
We have a show about magnets. I don't get it.
Right, yeah. I'm like,
Yet.
I was like, I'm aware of that far-sighted visionary Shaggy 2 dope. Yes. Right.
So yeah, I'm just gonna pass it over to Erin, because Erin knows what she's doing with this. I'm gonna mute my mic and everything.
I love hearing you laugh though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's okay.
I'll sit here in silence.
Never mind. I was about to give some context. It might be better if we don't give any context. Or Erin, would you like me to give some context?
I'm really
or we just
curious. Yeah, give me some context.
Well, again, friends, presumably, if you've come with us this far, you know exactly what's about to happen. If not, if this is your first time tuning in or you've just started watching recently, do I have something glorious for you? Because when we do these Idle Champions Presents adventures, which are adventures that I dungeon master with players that have characters in the game of Idle Champions, playing those characters. Traditionally, that has been Havilar, Erin playing her character Havilar. famously telling me she couldn't play Farida. Couldn't. The character would not translate into the medium. And I was always, yeah, but like you can though. You know? And she's like, no, and we would go back and forth about this. So at the end of the last one, ICP3, which I know gets a little confusing because the first one had 2 parts. So that at the end of the Trials of Mount Tiamat, we hit on the idea that Erin would in fact play Farida in this one. And so we set some events up in the second one that would lead into the third one, but events that Erin didn't actually know when the Raven Queen was showing up and interacting with Havilar. She didn't know where I was going with that. She just knew it was going somewhere. The next story was going to involve the Raven Queen. So she just went with it. So everything you saw, that was happening in real time. So now we did this where it was all Farida's perspective that theoretically Havilar wasn't there for because they were there to get Havilar back. And when they got Havilar back, Havilar couldn't talk. Turns out, though, thankfully, just like all of you were watching, so was Havilar. So here, with her newly restored voice, is our recap of Idol Champions Presents Court of the Raven Queen from Havilar's point of view.
I know you guys miss me. It's cool. You
So
don't have
much.
to say. So
We love
because
Farida, though. We do love Farida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially now. Since Farida came and saved me from the spooky castle, I'm going to save her from having to do the recap. Because honestly, you guys, she'd rather die. I'm pretty sure. So, oh God, I just realized that was way too soon.
Oh my God. I'm already broken.
Okay, so before we start, I have a couple of things, a couple of ground rules. So first of all, everything that happened in the spooky castle is really confusing, and I don't want to go over it. Even maybe a couple things I will tell you, but I don't remember all of it, and I don't understand all of it. And then also, the Raven Queen asked me not to tell. And I feel a little different about her. I think she's cooler than I thought, and also spookier than I thought. Maybe we are best friends. Maybe we are best enemies. Best frenemies. We're best frenemies.
Yes.
So never think. The second thing is sometimes people make mistakes. And I think when I tell you everything that happened, you will remember to be nicer to people when they make honest mistakes. Because if there's anything I learned from all of this, it's that it's very easy to mess up, even if you're a god. So, okay, first, I didn't know. Also, guys, there's a lot of stuff that happened, so I'm going to try to get through all of it, but I might talk a little fast. I'm very sorry. So, okay, first, I didn't know if anybody was going to come save me from Spooky Castle, which I found out has an actual name. It's called the Fortress of Memories. And guys, it is called that for a reason, which we will get to. I was waiting around for about 1 million years, or maybe less. It's hard to tell because it's a different plane and things do different stuff. But I saw in one of the scrying doohickeys that Farida did come to save me after all. Way too much eyeliner. If you are new here, Farida is my twin sister. She is kind of bossy. She is kind of terrible with weapons, but she is really good at blasting stuff. She also has terrible taste in men, especially Stat 1. But I love her. And she clearly loves me because the first person she brought with her was Bailouts. I was so surprised to see him because generally Bailouts, as long as I've known him, has looked out for number 1, where number 1 is Bailouts. And I kind of figured he would just shrug when he saw that I was gone and go back to petting the wand of Orcus. But I was wrong about that a lot. Anyway, so but Bailouts still had the wand and half his face was gone, which just very weird. But he seemed to be okay with it. And the thing is that, like I said, Bailouts is always kind of looking out for number 1, and Farida is like, look out for everyone I can possibly imagine. So I already knew this was going to be a mess. But then I saw Orkia. So Orkia is a dragonborn cleric that is friends with Freely, and she is also friends with Farida. They get along really well because see previous save everybody vibes. But honestly, guys, don't tell Farida that I said this, but Orkia is a lot better at saving everybody. Farida worries about it, but then Orkia gets it done. And then the last person there was Shaka, who is a tiefling warlock. You might remember from when we fought Tiamat. I remember him, but I was also a little confused because I couldn't remember if Shaka and I actually knew each other or if I was confused because, again, the time in the Shadowfell and maybe kind of being mind controlled by your best frenemy doesn't clear things up. But then I remembered something else, which is that the Raven Queen took part of his memories so that he didn't die. And so I was like, oh, he's probably there to get him back. Got it. So everyone's there, right? Except here's the thing. They don't remember anything. They don't know where they are. They don't know why they're there. They completely forgot that I needed to be saved. And while they're trying to remember all of this, like this big weird storm swooped out of nowhere and they had to run like crazy for a cave. So they wouldn't get all like, I don't really know what the storm was doing. I just know they were screaming. But so anyway, they got to the cave and they're like, what's even happening? Where are we? Why are we here? And then 3 things happened. The first thing, they were not allowed in that cave. There was this guy there, Desmond. So Desmond looks like a regular human guy, but he has a secret, which I will, is really, really cool. And I will tell you about it later when it's narratively dramatic. That's a thing I learned from my best friend of me, the Raven Queen. Anyway, Desmond is from a different place in the Shadowfell called Ravenloft. I peeked over there once. I regretted it immediately. The Raven Queen, she got really mad. I did that because I guess those mists are supposed to stay shut and you shouldn't snoop on them because maybe you'll let stuff out. The second thing was that they were not alone. Again, double. The cave was full of these squirrel things called Scurids, and they all attacked at once. So there was a lot of fire and zapping. And then Desmond had to come out and fight the squirrels. And it basically, before they could even be like, wait, who are you? Why are you here? And do you know why we're here? The third thing happened. And the third thing was that they were not alone. Again, still, there's a different guy in this cave. This guy, he is a huge, huge jerk. His name is Vecna. I call him Jerkna. I told the Raven Queen that, and I think she thought it was hilarious because she did this. I've messed up a lot of his stupid deathlocks, so that feels good. He's a lich who thinks he's a god, but he's kind of a scrub. Anyway, Bailouts got very excited because he knows who Vecna is, and he gets very excited about famous people. Vecna thought Farida was me, and then he was very rude about it. He told everyone that he's the one that messed up the teleport, but actually he blamed it on the Raven Queen trying to fight him off. But that is Vecna. That is why he's Jerkna. And basically, he did a lot of taunting, and he gave Farida back the memory of seeing the Raven Queen and why they left, and then he bounced. Farida cast Eldritch Blast at him, which was really stupid, but she's like that when she's mad. And I have to admit, sometimes I do that too, so I can't be faulting her too much. So, okay, Desmond introduced himself, and everybody did too, and then Desmond didn't run away, so props to Desmond. He's all like brooding and wounded, which sometimes I think is basically like Farida bait, but props to her, she stayed focused. Anyway, Bailouts was like, hey, the Raven Queen is not so bad. She gave me a present, and Farida hit the roof. And this is why I don't think they're good adventuring partners, because Bailouts, that's Bailouts. But Orkia kept everyone together. Literally with cure wounds and also marshmallows. And then Desmond gave everybody something called pocket brisket. And I don't want to spoil the end of this, but like the first thing I did at the end of all of it was ask for some pocket brisket because I couldn't stop thinking about it after I saw it. So, okay, now Desmond's going to join the team. And they all head to the spooky castle after that, which is unfortunate because they decided to go up over the mountains and poor Orkia hates the snow. It was harsh. There's snow and acid pools and spooky voices. And Shaka heard his patron, who I found out is not called Shaka's patron, but Kagoya. And Farida basically jumped off a cliff because I think she was chasing me, but I wasn't even there. This Shadowfell place, it sucks. So then they were talking about the voices, and Farida heard about Kagoya, and guys, she did the dumbest thing. She was like, oh no, well, my pack doesn't work. So she contacted Asmodeus. And I'm going to tell you something. The best strategy with that guy is 100% not to ever talk to him. I am a chosen of Asmodeus, technically. And we've never even said hi to each other. I just have to sit on this stupid shard of power and not ask questions, which most of the time I'm okay with. And I get Zuni and I get imps, but then also sometimes demons make me barf. So, but it's better than Asmodeus being in my business. Anyway, Asmodeus got in her head, hate it, but he warned her in time to fight some big like elemental monsters. This fight, guys, was very cool to watch. I was very jealous. But the two coolest things were that Shaka got like a huge weird pulse of magic and he did this crazy monster attack and the spells just like was twice as strong. There were two of them and he almost killed the whole thing. But also Desmond revealed his secret. This is the dramatic part. And his secret is he is a werewolf, but not a loogie rope. But still like very intense because he ripped their heads off. And then a demon goose showed up and Frida sent it to the 9 hells. And Asmodeus didn't like that. He called back and was like, what's wrong with you? You're embarrassing me. Mehan is always yelling about thinking ahead and stuff. And usually I'm like, but I kind of agreed here. I guess they ate goose in hell, so that's good. Anyway, that meant Bailouts knew about Asmodeus. Actually, everybody knew at that point. She kind of forgot to be subtle about it. He started bothering Farida about it, and she freaked out. And then she explained everything, which was a big mistake because nobody cares. And Bailouts only waiting for her to stop talking so he could pester her more about getting Asmodeus' number. She got all mad and stomped off. Once again, I don't think they are good adventure partners. And at this point, I didn't think I was probably getting rescued. And I was trying to figure out how I could get out and go rescue them. But that wasn't going to happen. So they started towards the spooky castle again, but then they heard something. It was Puff! And then it was Puff and Bailout's friend Ilan and even Freely. And I was like, wait, Freely's here?
Yeah,
You didn't even come see me?
I was there. Hello.
Why didn't you come see me? Are we even friends, man?
Well, I was technically, I mean, I don't want to spoil the story, but I wasn't actually there. But okay, you keep going.
Right.
You keep going.
Okay,
Yeah.
I forgot.
Glad
I did
to see you're
figure
okay,
this
though.
part out.
Right.
Thank you. But then they went to where their camp was, and everybody was acting a little weird, and then stuff started happening. Bailouts disappeared, and then Desmond cast a zone of truth on Freely, and it didn't do anything. Like he wasn't even there, because he wasn't there, like Freely said. This was monsters! There were these weird booger tentacle things that makes you see stuff. I had never seen anything like that before, so I asked what they were, and the answer was ball knockers.
I mean, that's not the answer. I mean, they do it's a mouthful what those things are actually called. That is
Also, you know, when you ask the Raven Queen questions, she gets annoyed at you sometimes, and also she doesn't repeat herself ever, but she's got that mask on, so sometimes it's not totally clear. So anyway, fortunately, Bailouts just like meteor swarmed the whole mess, and then everyone knew where to go. So there was another big fight with those ball knockers, and then some of those dumb deathlocks came. I hate those guys. They stink. And after that was another storm. Then an avalanche. And this is sort of where I regret what I agreed to, because it was a lot all at once, and it felt like my fault. But in my defense, nobody told me environmental hazards might happen. But before the avalanche, actually, Orkia got to do something she'd been trying to do forever, which is scry me. That didn't go great. Because I was actually technically fighting an army of undead jerks at that point. So that's all she heard was like screaming and Zuni snarling and me chopping stuff. And that she was like, oh no, that's going to freak out. And then, okay, rude. The Raven Queen answered my scry and said that they should all turn back or she would complete the set. This is big frenemy energy. It's also the worst way to get Farida to do something like objectively terrible. I would think that she would be better at maybe she's thinking like in multi-dimension steps ahead kind of thing, because I think in the end she didn't want Farida to turn back. So that was probably a good trick, but it was rude still. Then she showed up for Shaka and was like, we had a very reasonable deal. And like, I try to explain to her that when you force people into a corner where they can only take the one choice you're offering, that doesn't make them like you. But she said, I tried. One thing about that avalanche, that was so scary. Farida and Orkia almost died. Everybody was trying to get them out. Nobody knew how to get them out. So Bailouts started talking about summoning Najim, his djinn, and doing a wish. But here's the thing. If there's one thing Orkia hates more than snow and also undead, it's wish. So Orkia heard him and she freaked out. She did a huge crazy fireball because her magic was doing the same thing as Shaka's and going crazy. So he blasted her and Farida out of there, and Farida was so glad. So then, okay, everybody's out of the snow and they're on their way again. And there was a huge fight happening between the Shatterkai and the Sorrowsworn. Those guys can eat it. I hate them. They suck. Orkia did another scry right at the Raven Queen this time and was like, if we help you, will you like that and be nicer to us? And she was predictably cryptic. But generally, she's like, yeah, that's good. So at this point, Farida is really amped and really mad at the Raven Queen. And she did that Brimstone Angel thing where she's just like, rah! And then everybody waded into the fight. It went well. It would have been better if I was there, but. So anyway, after the fight, Delatov was there. I call her Detoff. I think it's growing on her. Anyway, Detoff was like, hey, yo, did you lose a blue person? And Desmond was like, yes, indeed, I did. And Detoff was like, oh, well, you're going to double lose her because she's dying. And Desmond was like, where? And fortunately, Orkia was there, so his friend didn't die. And guys, that was a very, very good because that friend is Tatiana. And I would like to be best friends, real best friends with Tatiana because she is an Air Genasi barbarian. And she's also a druid and she can punch anything and she turns into a bear and she rips the faces off undead and her tattoo is amazing. And she said she wanted to spar with me, guys. It was amazing. As much as I would just like to talk about how cool Tatiana is, there's a lot more stuff that happened. But you guys, if you guys have a scroll of sending, I would like to call her. So anyway, DDoS let them through. There was some stuff in here with some boggles and things, but DDoS eventually led them through a portal into the Fortress of Memories, and we're at the spooky castle at last. And this is where we found out why it's called this Fortress of Memories. They walked in, and there's a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to tell you, you shouldn't touch that stuff. But Farida saw her old sword, and she picked it up. And then everyone got to watch her get embarrassed because Mahan is yelling at her for not dumping Lorcan and suddenly becoming good at the sword, which, like, Mahan, come on. And then Lorcan's being all smarmy and annoying. And maybe worst, I'm just ignoring all of it. And I don't remember any of that actually happening, but I kind of wonder if I don't remember it just because it wasn't important to me at the time. That doesn't feel great. And Farida saw me and she tried to pull me out of the memory, and I don't want to talk about that part. Anyway, Shaka saw himself with his old patron, Xanthar, who is a beholder and kind of a goober and a jerk. He's very mean to Shaka.
How dare you offend the almighty Xanathar?
You're on my list, Xanathar! You're on my list now!
I realize this is a figment of your imagination, which I was a figment of his imagination, so I will bow out, but the Xanathar is not a goober. You cannot even pretend to insult the almighty Xanathar and not get a reaction. This is true. Everyone knows. Yes.
I might just want to fight him so I can hear him talk some more. But okay, at this point, it's happened twice, so they realize, like, this is gonna be a thing. Because then it was Orkia, and she got sucked into, like, a pocket dimension with this weirdo wizard called Bordred, who had all these abs. And he was like, maybe you mess everything up, and maybe you can't trust your own mind, which is very mean. And Orkia was really scared, but at that point, everyone knew those were fake memories, and they tried to pull her out of it. And this is actually, I think, something Farida is pretty good at, I have to admit. Being like, no, you're not terrible, come on. But then it wasn't memories anymore. It was a spooky voice. Spookier than the Raven Queen. I think it was a Ravenloft voice. It was this lady, Voronika. And Desmond and Tatiana knew her, and they were really upset and kind of scared. And she was really amused by all of this, which is a bad sign. It's a bad sign when someone sees you suffering and is like, this is fun. I think this might be part of why Desmond is all brooding. And Tatiana was so upset. And so, Veronica, you are also on my list, whoever you are. But then, guys, the worst thing happened. Bubbles showed up. You might remember Bubbles. She's a Hollyphant, and she comes and she tries to help, but she does not help. She does stuff like make you talk in rhymes and turn you into red pandas. I don't know who told her where they were that she should show up, but she made them all talk backwards. And then later she turned them into owlbears. But so then they finally got into the next room and they're still all talking backwards. But there's this Nagpa, which is like an evil vulture person. They don't like the Raven Queen because they did something a long time ago and pissed her off. And then she said, fine, you're going to be cursed. So this Nagpa is casting a big ritual with some vampires. And this was actually a huge problem because it was breaking up the Shadowfell. And so they had to do all of that and fight the vampires, which got tricky because Orkia turned the vampires. But then Shaka's like, wait, yo, I'm also part vampire. And he got turned too. So he started climbing up the walls. But fortunately, Orkia got him back. They did like a lot of attacks, and like Tatiana did this really cool move where she like broke the ritual circle. So then that was finally enough to stop it. But then that's when Bubbles came back and made them all owlbears. Someone needs to talk to Bubbles about how to help people because it's not working. But at least the owlbears managed to defeat the Nagpa. Okay, so then there were some Shatterkai, and they were frozen for the ritual, and they got unfrozen when the Nagpa got defeated. And the Shatterkai priestess was called Nira, and she explained there are two masters fighting over the Shadowfell. And Shaka was like, this smells like jerkna. He didn't say jerkna, but I'm going to say it. So then they finally found the Raven Queen, and Frida was like, give me back my sister! And guys, I feel so bad. But then the Raven Queen made her see my head, and he was freaking out how much danger we were both in and how he wasn't there. And Farida tried really hard to bargain. I was actually pretty impressed because sometimes she is very emotional, but she was like cold. But she doesn't know what. It was very awkward. Anyway, Shaka saw what he forgot was just having a good time with his friends. And he saw Shalice and Dahani and Gazrick and all his Waterdeep friends. And she was like, we had a deal. And Shaka's like, deals can be renegotiated. But then she's like, okay, I'll talk to you later. And she went to Orkia and she showed Orkia. I didn't know Orkia had things so hard, but it was really intense. And then she showed what happened about how Farida asked for help. And guys, I made a big mistake. I should have known all this was going to happen. Everybody's so upset. But anyway, it already happened. So the Raven Queen made clear that the problem is not just Jerkna, but it's also Dorcas. I don't think she likes that joke as much because she makes this face. So she goes around and she kind of asks everybody what they want, which included telling Desmond where his future lies, which is in another spooky place, and telling Tatiana about where somebody that she cared about might have died. But then she asked Farida if she would trade my hen for me. And Farida was horrified. And on the one hand, I get what she's getting at, because Farida can't just jump in and undo the thing I did. It's the same kind of deciding for somebody else. But again, Raven Queen, this is why no one wants to hang out in the spooky castle with you. Speaking of which, this is when the spooky castle started to fall apart. Okay, so then she did something that was about the weirdest thing ever. She showed Bailoff some sad memories because Bailoff had a baby brother once, but Drow are only allowed to have one boy, and that's weird. But Bailoff was kind of sad about it. And then he did the weirdest thing. He tried to help Farida with her feelings. Guys, I was so confused at this point because that is not what I thought was going to happen. But I think he kind of knew how she was feeling. But then it didn't matter because everything went completely bananas. There were demons and there was undead, and the Raven Queen got swooped up into a big ball of darkness prison. And they fought a Gloober Zoo. And Frida did that Brimstone Angels thing again. And Veronica came back and she gave Desmond a cool bow and Tatiana a cool spear. And there was a lot of fighting. But then a Night Walker happened. And these are the worst because even being close to them sucks the life out of you. It's like wraiths, but like a big pile of them turned into a big walking monster. Do not recommend. But then something better happened. Shut up too, because what I've been doing is being the champion of the Raven Queen. She gave me some really cool armor and like a scythe, and she brought me Zuni, and Zuni got to be cool too. And there's some definite drawbacks, like I couldn't say anything, and sometimes I didn't get to decide what I do because, like I said, we're not best friends, we're best frenemies. But anyway, I was like, cha, cha, on that Nightwalker. Except then Farida started screaming and I kind of snapped out of the champion brain. And then when I was looking at her, it got me around the neck. And that was sort of scary because that thing is very big. But then Farida banished it, which is very good. It went away. But then she came over to get me because I was not doing well. And Asmodeus showed up again. And then she made another bad decision. She made a deal with him to save me.
Okay, wait a second. I think this is being misrepresented. I've only ever helped you girls. You are my chosen.
Trevor, I would like to continue my streak of not talking to this man. Can you tell him that I'm busy?
Hang on real quick. Hey, Mr. Asmodeus, Havilar's actually a little busy right now. If you could come back maybe a little bit later.
That's okay. Eventually,
I can schedule in about 3 weeks.
No, eventually we'll have all of eternity to discuss.
Oh, okay, so you already got something set up. Perfect. All right, Havilar, continue.
I got out of the spooky castle. I think I can get out of the house. Anyway. There are way bigger problems than Asmodeus. Dorcas and Jerkna showed up. They were the ones doing the spell prison, working together. For a minute, they immediately turned on each other, the second that they thought it was possible. But then something else happened. Vi showed up to save the Raven Queen. I don't entirely know this lady's deal exactly, but she calls everybody honey. She has magic donuts and hand cannons and robot things. The Raven Queen says she's cool, and I have to agree. Some more fighting happened, and then Bailoff summoned Najim, who did not like Bailoff's new look. It was definitely trouble in paradise there. Are they dating? Or did they break up? I forgot. Anyway, Bailoff was like, can we talk about this later? I need a wish. But before he could wish the Raven Queen to safety, Jerkna stopped time and flung everybody back into those dang memories. Only they were worse. And I wasn't even there. He just left me behind. So first, Bailoff saw himself fighting with his mom about sacrificing the baby. And then he just was leaving the Drow City because he was not having it with Lolth sacrificing his little brother. And Lolth, if you can hear this, you're also on my list. Nobody makes Bailoff cry. Then it was Tatiana and Desmond's turn for trauma. There was a cathedral on fire.
Hang on. This is just me talking. It's like she read my notes. Now it's time for Desmond and Tatiana's turn for trauma.
It was very dramatic. There were screaming people and a flaming cathedral and a death knight. And also Desmond's brother was there. He's covered in blood. And maybe this is the reason Desmond is brooding. But then the death knight started fighting and Tatiana turned into a bear. Her tattoo turned her into a bear. And Tatiana, if you are watching this, send me and tell me where you got that tattoo because I need one. You could be tattoo twinsies, but not real twinsies. And then Vecna swooped them somewhere else. And it was like a whole other world. There were all these people and there were kinds of people I'd never seen before. There was this rolling lightning fortress thing and all the people were freaking out. And Vecna was like, "Hi, what's about to happen is your fault and you're going to face it." And I think maybe Vi used to be a villain, or maybe she just made a mistake because I think a lot of people make mistakes with something. But here's the thing. The Death Knight came with them. And this is the worst because Farida is set up to she's going to fireball him. But there's all these screaming refugees around and Tatiana's right there. And I would be so mad if she burnt up Tatiana. She can't do that. But then this is why I say that Farida is the one that should do the tactics. She was like, look at that rolling lightning fortress thing. And she blasted him off the platform. And then that fortress thing just went smack. And then he was gone. It was great. I was so proud of her. That broke the vision. And that's when I saw what was happening again because they showed up right in front of me. And I was like, yay! So we're fighting. Crown of Stars, cannons, meteor swarms. Orkia showed off a booming box. Which, guys, he's really trying way too hard.
Wait, no, I thought she'd be into the music. You're saying this wasn't the move to do.
They were really sick jams, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, again, it only plays the one song, but yeah. I thought she'd like it. You've spent some time with her now. That's not. Oh.
No.
Oh.
Oh, wait, Farida or Raven Queen? Because you were flashing that at my sister, and I didn't know what was going on.
Well, I mean, like, come on, right? No, okay, all right.
Maybe take it down a couple of notches.
I'm very subtle for a demon lord.
Okay. I'll remember that. I'll put in a good word for you. I think maybe she feels sorry. I'm not sure. A Raven Queen, I mean, not Farida. She has too many problems with this kind of thing. Anyway, Mask showed up for Bailouts, and Bailouts was like, please steal me the wand of Orka's back. I'll be your best friend. And so she did. And then Vi gave her a donut. So she gave Vi and Orkira some magic keys that didn't do anything exactly yet. But guys, this is so not over. So then Orcus realized he got the wand stolen and he blasted black ice over everyone and everything got a lot harder. Okay, so I don't want to talk about this next part. I want to point you back to that thing about people making mistakes and being understanding about it, but also Jerkna dominated me, and Farida and Bela tried to stop him, but it got me, and I started attacking Farida. And you guys know I'm really good at attacking things, but this time it was not a good thing. Maybe we could just talk about how cool it was that Tatiana turned into a raging bear and started ripping up all those undead. Could we just do that? But anyway, the Raven Queen told Farida that she couldn't get to me anymore, but Farida could maybe she could help Farida and Farida could help her. So she gave her like a boon, which kind of helped. And then Orkira's death word helped. But then Jarkna did a power word kill and she just fell down. I don't remember a lot of what happened here, but then Orkira ran up and she helped me get her away, and she did this resurrection spell with all this fire, and then Farida was okay. And I was like, fine, we're doing this, Jarkna! And Farida threw a fireball and like another Crown of Stars thing and to clear my path, and it was like old times. It was nice. But he'd done this like duplicate self thing when Shaka was fighting him, so there were lots of them. And I was like, fine, Jarkna, I'll just kill you 4 times. And everyone realized at this point what they really had to do was get the Raven Queen free. What they really had to do was get the Raven Queen free. And what they realized is that it took both Orcus and Vecna to hold that spell together. So they had to beat one of them to do it. So yeah, guess what? We're all in on you, Jerkna. And all those death words turned out to be very useful. But in the end, Shaka was gutsy and he did a feeble mind on Vecna, who thinks he's so smart, but not anymore, I guess. And Orcus stomped home and the Raven Queen freed herself and she locked Vecna up. So the Raven Queen gave Shaka back his joy and also asked him if he didn't want to be a dump here anymore. He said, yes, please, I would like to go back to normal. So she healed that too. And honestly, it kind of sounds like she planned all of this. Like it was all a big sneaky plan. And I asked her, could you just like ask people directly for help? Because I think that they would appreciate it. And all this manipulating people makes you seem evil. And she said, so I'm working on her. But guys, everything is still kind of in trouble. I don't think we're done yet. And also, I guess we should bring Minsk next time because he was feeling very left out. I think me and Minsk and Tatiana should hang out. You guys call me.
That'd be cool.
That's what happened on Court of the Raven Queen.
Yay!
I'm just saying we just need a Minsk Tatiana Havilar just gym one shot. You know, just set in PRs. That's it. Just set in PRs. Yeah.
Nice.
Right. Where's drink? I was about to say drink some water there. Yes. That's
Refresh.
I need to find a way to just bypass having to do the show somehow and just get straight to Havilar saying what happened.
You just want me to write some Idol Champions fanfic?
That's it. Literally, that's all I want. This is a long con.
As written by Havilar.
But expressly as written by Havilar. You know, not that I don't love and value your the Balhanoth. What did you call those?
Ball knocker. I have to give props because I was making notes last night and I was like, you know, every time I do this, Havilar gets the name of something wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I feel like I owe it to people to do that. And the Bal Hanath seemed like an obvious place to do it, because this is not something she's ever seen before. It's not like, you know, messing up the Raven Queen's name would be very weird. And I was very stuck, and I said to my sister, like, what does this word sound like to you? And she goes, ball knockers, like, just immediately. So I have to give Julia credit.
Yep. She's in a footnote there. Yeah. So that's I gotta tell you, it's for people who've been paying close attention. Way back in the first one, we foreshadowed the second one, because you saw the mountain of fire with the like gargantuan shadow flying over. That was Tiamat over Mount Tiamat. In the second one, we foreshadowed this one, because the Raven Queen came and cut a deal with Shaka and took Havilar away. We foreshadowed the next one, but I don't know if you were paying attention, because if you were watching live, we got to the end. I was like, yay, we did it. Everything's fine. And I was like, we're out. We made it in time. Because I knew we had the epilogue with Minsk. But we start showing the epilogue, and V, who was in the call, immediately, and I start telling everybody what's going to happen in the next story. And she's going time. And I was like, oh no, are we on a hot mic? Did I just ruin it? Because I'm like, you know, in the next one, we're going to blow up the Death Star. Darth Vader's going to be Luke Skywalker's father. It's going to be wild, you know? But it was because I'd forgotten to say who won all the drawings and given, you know, our outro, because I was just pumped up. So yeah, everything, Havilar's restored. Tatiana and Desmond are going to get home. We're going to find out how they get home in the Black Dice Society. All of that. It's going to be all good. You know, I'm sure we've seen the last of Dorcas and Jerkna.
Absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I have one small thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned a couple of times that, B-Dave, that I was like, I can't play Farida. And I want to give props, because I think this adventure made it a lot easier to play Farida. Because the things that are hard are that, so Havilar is easier to sort of drop into one of those games where it's like, look, a monster, and you're going to fight it. Because she doesn't really need to connect to other people in order to make sense. But I strongly think Farida makes sense when she's connecting to other people. And when she has like a motivation that's more personal. It's hard for Farida to be like, I'm the one that should go fight the monster. Like I have to see the consequences, kind of thing. Not that she's not heroic, but that she doesn't make as much sense and she doesn't take up space the right way. But this one, like, you had a really solid like motivation for her. And then also props to the cast, because I think that you created a really beautiful like thematic structure that is a little bit about like, you know, the way that we, you know, in trying to make things better, sometimes make mistakes and have to sort of face the fact that we're always sort of repairing the things that we messed up. And also that loss and close relationships or like sibling relationships kept coming up, so that it was very easy to like, when someone had a moment, to like know how to step in and react to it. So I feel like the cast chemistry was really strong, and the story you were telling really made that possible, and it made it really easy and fun to play Farida. So thank you so much for making that beautiful piece of narrative art that I could participate in.
Thank you. As a side, shameless plug, we three do a writing podcast, and we talk about like stuff like this and how to disassemble things and like how that works. Well, I mean, yeah, it was intentional. I was about to say, well, it just happened. No, I did it on purpose. But
I think that's the cool thing about themes is like, you can be like, I'm going to do this, but then as it's unfolding, you're like, I'm going to play this piece up stronger. I'm going to grab this character like this because you're reacting to this in this way. So it can be intentional from the beginning, and it can be intentional like as you're building. And I think it just came together really nicely.
Well, I appreciate that, because also it was unusual for me in the sense that, okay, let me take one step back for those of you that haven't heard this. So these Idle Champions Presents are written adventures, because we make the written adventure available afterwards. But
you too can fight ball knockers.
You too, yeah. But I have input into the adventures of like, here's what I'd like to happen. This worked well this time, need more of this, less of that type thing. And so I knew painful memories obviously were going to be a recurring theme in this because it's the Shadowfell. And so for Orkia's character, I was there for lots of her unhappy memories, not all of them, but I was playing at the table. For Desmond and Tatiana, I've been telling the story that they come from. I know 100% of their painful memories. And then for Shaka, I had to do a lot of research. And with Vi, I talked to Jeremy about Vi's past and, what we could do with that, which just so happens it was fortuitous that he was like, Vi was instrumental in the Doom and Sire, if you're an Eberron fan. And we did a Black Dice Society bonus episode where they were on the morning rail. The last train that's leaving Siren doesn't make it and is now a ghost train in Ravenloft, which is the single coolest
so cool
premise ever.
It's so cool.
So yeah. But as I shared with you all before, the thing, like, I don't care what anybody thinks about how I portray, the Raven Queen or Orcus or Vecna or Xanathar or Tiamat, whatever. You do how you're gonna do at your table, I'm gonna do how I do it. But for the characters that Erin has created, I was so so worried is the wrong word. I just didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want to mess up Mahan. I didn't want to mess up Larkin. I didn't because I know these characters have lived in your head for so long, and I know what it's like when you have your babies. I mean, again, there's Helene back there. I don't know if she's on my you're like, I know them. I know what they sound like. I also know my friend has zero poker face, so if I missed it, I would know it instantly. Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, yeah. I'm like, Farida.
I think you did amazing. No, real life actors played my characters on a broadcast, so it's basically like my book get made into a TV show. So
there it is. It's like it happened. But Trevor, I know we've soaked up all the oxygen here, but I just want to say, if for you, as one of the mods, thank you, because that's no small thing on front page. But also as a viewer, what was your favorite part of this thing, Trevor?
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be self-indulgent. When you busted out the boombox, the clip we played at the beginning of this, like, we were having a conversation in the mod chat, and I went, everyone be quiet. I need to hear this.
I love it.
Yeah. No, this one had so many good moments, character-wise, the trauma moments, and everyone just cranked it up to 11. So, like, I'm gonna say the boombox thing for self-indulgent things, but honestly, it was all of the character moments. Every single one of those was so dang good.
Oh, let me tell you one other thing. All the Bailouts stuff, Mark and I hadn't discussed that. So much so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, we hadn't talked about any of that. But because one of the things that, again, I did kind of talk with everybody about their histories. Again, some of them I knew. But we were talking about Bailouts Past, and so Bailouts is a character from a video game that Mark voiced originally and sort of brought to life, and he's kind of this carnival barker buffoon person, and he does not have a rich backstory. You show up and he's Bailouts that runs the Black Pits. So a lot of this, like, well, what is something that would have happened to him or whatever? We always kind of came back to, it's like, well, he doesn't have those relationships. So when I was like, what would be formulative? No, that's still not how you say that word. That formative. Yeah. There. That's what it is. To a drow that might put them on the path of Bailoth, and that is the thing. You can only have one son if you're a worshiper of Loth. If you saw the sleep sound thing that Benedict Cumberbatch did last year, you can see this like carried out quite dramatically and astonishingly. So I was like, I'm gonna just put Bailoth in this situation where there's a little brother and they're gonna give him up. What would Bailoth do? So when we did that last week, and when we did it last week, he had no idea. He was going through some tech issues. So he circled back around to me and was like, well, now that I'm gonna have the camera and stuff, can we revisit that?
Oh, nice.
And I was like, yeah. So that's how all that happened.
I love it.
Bailout's sudden death was definitely one of my favorite moments. Like that was
Yeah.
that was wonderful.
We're
I
getting
also loved, I will say that Bailout and Farida's like relationship through this was like on the Dungeon Scrawlers Discord, the thing that people talked about the most. They were like really like, this is really interesting, and like the fact that they're sort of becoming friends is like, they were very into it. I was like, this is surprising. I didn't think it would happen.
We are running towards the end of the episode, but before I get to one of your question, I do want to say something that I told Lauren I was going to say at the beginning of this and totally forgot about because we were laughing. Right now, we have a special code for a Mecha Nova suit skin. If you do exclamation Nova, it's also popped up over my face right now. Mike Wazowski.
Wow.
It's okay. I told her to do that. And so, yeah, if you put in that code right now, you'll unlock Nova. You'll unlock the Mecha Nova skin and 3 gold chests. So be sure to plug that in right now. You can also, like I said, you can do exclamation Nova to get it in the chat.
I see the code is ICP3 recap joy, but I'm gonna create a character named Recaps joy. Yeah, you're like,
I love it.
a Warforged named Recaps joy.
There you go. There you go. Question that we got here, Cassius335 says, question, did I misunderstand the Jim Zub post-credit scene, or is ICP4 called The Fear of Minsking Out? Am I conflating 2 upcoming things? No, so... what? No, it's not the title of the next one. Here's a real thing. I made a joke about that in a meeting, and then I ended up getting to write the script for that, and then Jim Zub took it and made it better with the fear of missing Minsk out. So no, that was just a fun little thing that we wanted to do at the end of it, because it couldn't all the stinger couldn't be another deeply emotional, makes you want to cry scene.
Counterbalance. It's important.
That's true. Yep. But yeah, we got to wrap things up because we've got shows all day today, literally every hour, all the way up to a live play game at 4 p.m. that I'm in, run by V. It's going to be, for players, it's me, Todd Kenrick, Dylan Wilkes, and Lauren Urban, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, literally you can just sit on the channel all day and get entertainment the whole time. So yeah, that is, well, yeah, before we go, friends, where can people find you? Awesome things you're working on?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin M. Evans. You can join me. You can watch me with these guys. Oh, no, you're not watching me. You're listening to me with these guys on our podcast, Writing About Dragons and Shit, which I think a new episode goes up today.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a tangent episode.
Those are the good ones. You can watch me on twitch.tv/Dungeon Scrawlers tonight at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, where I, for Dungeon Scrawlers, an actual play show featuring a bunch of fantasy writers. I am DMing again, so they're going to try to find the Secret Evil Wizard notes before the Witches of Rashomon show up and ask them a bunch of terrifying questions. And maybe some other stuff. And tomorrow I'm going to do a show for Spring Extravaganza, which Lauren is DMing, and I'm very excited because I get to play Blushi.
Yeah, I love Blushi.
The very dark bullywug teen that I got to help make for Idle Champions. I love her.
A dark-eyed bullywug teen.
I'm not like other bullywugs. I'm dark.
It's not a phase.
It's not a phase.
This is who I am.
B. Dave Walters. Hi, hello. I do that. I just set up gags for Erin to pay off. It is one elaborate long con. Yep, that is me. And
you are the Raven Queen. It's all a long plan.
It's true. It has been me the entire time. Yeah. So, yeah, just very lucky and blessed to get to do the things I do with the people that I do. So, yeah, that's it. You can follow me on the tweetagrams at BDaveWalters and enjoy. Isn't there like an extravaganza thing? Has that been announced yet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's going on right now.
Oh, this is the
part of it. This is the extravaganza.
See, I want you to know that I was both the opening act and, you know, the hype man for the extravaganza. Like, yeah, boy. I will just say this last thing because I know we got to... No, never mind. I'm going to tell you when the cameras stop rolling. Sorry, you guys, but I'm going to say something dope to Trevor and Lauren and Erin when we're done.
But yeah, we got to get
now
going.
You're Vecna, too.
That's true.
Thank you to our mods, Jay and Mars or not Jay, Jordan and Mars. My apologies. My brain is mush. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in and hanging out. And I hope you enjoyed the recap as much as we all did. But that's gonna do it for this week's episode. So until next week, Champions out.